Women are not allowed in this central city pillar of Chiang Mai, Thailand because they menstruate. Literally right here. It is believed that it humiliates and ruins the sanctity of the city pillar. Of course, as someone who cares deeply about period empowerment, this aggravated me to no end. And not just because I know that rules are different when it comes to religion for menstruators. For example, in the Muslim practice, when someone is menstruating, they do not pray. But what bothered me about this sign specifically is that the last line says that disobeying these rules will cause social instability. So basically, don't question the rules because this maintains like the hierarchical structure of power. Also, this is not a temple. This is a city pillar. And a city pillar, which marks the establishment of this new town, also represents like the center of power. And when I started asking questions, I realized it wasn't even necessarily about menstruation. Menstruation was just used as an excuse. For example, a young girl or a much older woman who does not get their period anymore cannot enter this building. Also, our tour guide, Paulina, who is a transgender woman, can also not enter the temple even though she does not get her period and has never gotten a period. So then I was like, wait, then why is menstruation literally listed here as being the reason they cannot enter? I was given a couple different answers. First of all, there's some like superstitious magic, believing in black magic situation. And so some of the thought was that maybe blood was impure and if it got onto the ground, it would hurt the like magical powers of this city pillar. I have a video where I had like a 20-minute discussion with a monk because at a lot of these temple areas, they provide monk chats where you can actually ask any questions to the monk. And I told them like, look, out of full respect and purely out of curiosity, I want to know why these rules are still upheld and like what is it that's different about women and how do we define women in this society? And to be honest, a lot of the monks were actually very open with me and they said they do not know and this really is just like old tradition. And as it says in the last line, it talks about how these rules should not be questioned because it will cause social instability, which is like a whole other issue. But they did encourage me and say that maybe things would change if you had a group of women who were going to question it. And some of them even said like, you can go try and walk in and see what happens. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't think I'm the right person to do it, but I wanted to share this because I think that there are versions of this all across so many different cultures. And it's really important that we ask things like, why do these rules exist and who can question them? And who's the decision maker in changing some of these old traditions? Because old traditions are broken and they're broken at times when they're no longer relevant. For example, one of the things that I was pushing the monks on because they all had smartphones is that it is a rule that they should not have phones or play games on their phone. And while I was having a monk chat, there were monks next to me playing games on their phone and they said that it's because traditions change. And so these things can be changed and I think that it's important to question a lot of these things, especially when so many beliefs that are around periods are historically harmful to achieving overall gender equality.